Good evening, folks. I said after the game one loss that I will be coming on here whether the Cavs win or whether the Cavs lose. So feel free to comment any thoughts that you have. We'll bring your comments up. We'll talk about this game. Anyone that has anything, go to the chat. We'll toss you in, answer some questions. This game did not feel like it was possible to be lost. The Cavs were up big at times, and then the lead was shrinking, and then it would go up, and then it would go down. And I had a bunch of content ready for post-game because Donovan Mitchell was 4 points from the franchise record for most playoff points. He was 4 free throw attempts from the most free throw attempts ever in a playoff game by a Cav. He was 2 away from the second. He was 2 points away from being the first Cav to ever have 50 twice in the playoffs. And now all of a sudden, Tyrese Haliburton said, I don't care about any of that. I'm just going to end the game. I mean, unbelievable. When Darius Garland is out, and DeAndre Hunter is out, and Evan Mobley is out, and Ty Jerome is 1 for 15, and somehow they still have the lead. 7 points in the last minute. And all of a sudden, they did what the Bucks did. They just couldn't get a rebound, and they couldn't inbound the ball. The inbounds were terrible. That was an awful turnover, then an awful foul, and an awful box out. You should have been able to box out Aaron Nesmith, too. Unbelievable way to lose a game. And now, the reason this is such a big deal, of course, is because of the game one loss. You just dropped 2 on your home court in a row. So, again, any comments anybody's got, feel free to drop them in the comment section here. We'll have some discussions. Start Amani Muse. Delaying violations exist. So, posted about the Nesmith dunk. Good pal Jack Herrick at Jack Rules 11. Ask the same question. The lane violation is generally called. We don't get a lot of action on missed free throws anymore like we used to. Should they have called it? Probably yes. Ever since Donovan's putback against Chicago at the end of the fourth quarter to send the game to overtime, January 2nd, 2023, we've seen a lot more lane violations called. So I didn't even notice until the 5th time I watched that video of the play that there actually was a lane violation. That was only one of many things they did to somehow win. I mean, it's insane the way it went. The last minute of a basketball game is very hard to win, and truthfully, it made it that much harder that Ty Jerome was having an off night, and you didn't have Darius available. And Craig Porter did not get on the court in the second half. I don't think he should have been playing the clutch moments per se, but it would have been nice to have an extra ball handler or a guy who can inbound the ball. And of course, Donovan Mitchell was injured late in the game, so he was not 100%. He couldn't get the same separation, so they really couldn't inbound him the ball. The Pacers just totally changed everything. And it's worth noting, by the way, the Cavs, after shooting 9 for 38 in game one, only won 11 for 39. Indiana only made 11, but I mean, I don't know how to explain this one. Indiana's starters came in the second half and just started making winning plays. Tyrese Haliburton made his, but Andrew Nembhard, 13, 7, and 13. He did have 8 turnovers. Haliburton, again, hits the game winner. I mean, this is a loss. We're on here talking about a loss. We can't go what ifs. So done on the Nesmith train. You can't go what ifs. There's a lot of what ifs. But Tyrese Haliburton, time and time again, just comes through in the playoffs and manages to do this. This stinks. This sucks. 2 years ago, it was Josh Hart multiple times. Last year, against Boston, there really wasn't one of those moments. The Cavs weren't in positions to close games like this. This one really stings because we thought that the series was going to go 1-1. They held on without Darius. Evan, DeAndre, and heck, a limping Mitchell. But they didn't. Remember when, and actually this is unfortunate now, because Donovan Mitchell has had 2 playoff games of at least 48 points with Cleveland, and they've lost both. That is not why they lost, but they did. The result is what it is. And when Donovan scored 57 for Utah in the bubble, Game 7, I think it was Game 2 against Denver, I think they lost that game. Every time Donovan goes crazy, somehow his team doesn't back him at the end and they lose. I mean, I had a lot of things noted for key stretches and what made the difference. So there was Donovan's poster. Max Strus had that big dunk. Dean Wade was marvelous on the glass, grabbing 10 rebounds, but he gave them no offense. You know, they couldn't get Jared any shots late. Couldn't get anything from Merrill late. Indiana's defense just figured it out. The Cavs won the turnover battle, but they only forced 5 in the second half. There are so many reasons, and there are so many factors, and there are so many fingers to point. But honestly, look, the season is not over yet. We're not out here about to say the season is over. The Pacers still have to win 2 more games in order to win this series. We've seen situations in the playoffs where a team loses 2 home games to start and then comes back to win. It's not the most crazy thing in the world. So, you know, I mean, you know, and Heather Bond could do a lot of things with the Pacers. There's a lot of things you could do with the Pacers. You could try to make someone that isn't Tyrese beat you. You could figure out how to rebound on missed free throws. You can do a lot. And you didn't do a lot of these things in crunch time, and now you're down 2-0 after losing 4 home games in the regular season. They've now lost 2 in a row. The only good news here is the Cavs don't play till Friday, but the bad news might now be we might be waiting on the Donovan Mitchell x-ray. Okoro hurt his hip in this game. How many more bodies do they have to throw out there if no one does come back? But assuming that these extra days off provide the time needed for players to return, maybe they'll be healthier. But to everybody that's been saying, you know, everyone is soft for not playing through these injuries, I don't agree with that. People were saying the same thing about Jarrett Allen last year. And it turned out he had a cracked rib. We didn't know the severity of the injury at the time, and so a lot of folks were kind of saying he should be playing, he's soft. Well, that was a serious injury. Clearly, Garland's toe is pretty bad. I mean, you saw how Mitchell was moving after he went down, and other guys that have ankle injuries and foot injuries. If he's not able to move comfortably, there is no point in putting him in the game as a ball handler who has to run and get away from defenses and break press and pressure and traps. Then he shouldn't be in there. Now, Evan Mobley was vitally missed. The smaller lineup late in the game couldn't get on the ball. You know, this is just this is just such a hard game to lose. Did not think I'd be sitting here with everybody at 10:01 p.m. after a 7 o'clock start, 10 minutes after the final whistle, watching a show. If I'm someone else, I'm one of y'all watching something where the Cavs actually lost. You know, it was sweaty palms time for a long stretch, and some way, somehow, Indiana came out unscathed. I don't know how they do this. They did this to the Knicks when they won in 7 last year in the second round. They did this to the Bucks in round 1. This is just a team that just keeps going. Where Siakam took 8 shots tonight. He was nowhere. But they started getting to the line, and they started making things happen. And it's not enough points down the stretch. I mean, the Cavs were minus 15 in the fourth. They shot it absolutely atrociously the entire fourth quarter. If they could have made a few more shots here or there, you look at a lot of things. But what you can't look at is a win, because the Cavs didn't do that. So what everyone was saying in order to win this second game, and this was before we knew about Mobley, Garland, Hunter definitively being out, was outshoot them. The Pacers won't shoot as well from 3. Cavs shot 43% from the field, by the way, folks. Pacers 52%. 28% from 3 for the Cavs, 39 from Indy. They tied in threes. Cavs made 30 free throws, Indy made 21. But the Cavs literally 39 baskets in the game. They missed way too many, way too often. And now it's tied, is what we would be saying. But we're not. What can you do in game 3? Are you going to get everyone back? Are you going to change your lineup again? What can you do? Your top guys are in. You just have to trust the system, really. Winning road games isn't the craziest thing. The last time the Cavs were at a road playoff game, they won by 55. Unfortunately, last year, the Cavs did not win any road playoff games. That was the JB regime. This is the Kenny regime. We got to see what they're made of now, down 0-2. Donovan Davis all tonight. But because they couldn't inbound the basketball, they had to burn extra timeouts when they really could have used them late in the game. On that extra inbound, you could have used the second one. You could have done it at any time, really. Honestly, when the Cavs lead was down to 2 and they had the ball, I was almost tempted to just say, hey, foul and make him make 2 free throws now and get the ball in a tie game. Just so that you can get the last shot, even though you wouldn't have had a timeout. Which makes no sense. But when Tyrese got the ball, you almost knew that they were not playing for overtime. They saw blood in the water. They were riding the high, and they went for it at the end of the game. And it magically worked. Because when Tyrese takes the clutch shot, when he takes that step back, that's it. It's amazing the accuracy at which he shoots that. He only took 2 threes. He made them both. He hurt his wrist early in the game, then he hurt the Cavs' spirits at the end. This was a game that you were going to look back on and wonder, how on earth did they actually lose? Did I dream that loss? Did that loss really happen? Well, the unfortunate thing is, I'm sure everybody that's live talking about this right now is, yes, it did happen. And it stinks. And it's 0-2. But the season doesn't end at 0-2. It ends when you lose 4. Should we be disappointed? Yeah, very, 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 very disappointed. Because you had a chance to win one with 2 of your 3 All-Stars not in the year runner-up, not in the lineup. You were leading almost the entire night. And then you lose. And with 1 second left, you couldn't even get the last shot off on the inbound. There was no urgency. It's up to Kenny over these next 3 days when they head to Indy to make these adjustments. We can only speculate as fans. People are going to overreact, as they should. And people are going to say, a lot of people probably think the season is over. It's not over yet. 64-18, tops in the East. But I will say this, to the many people that called this a cakewalk and said Cavs in 4 or 5, I had them in 6 initially. And I actually had them winning game 2, but that was after losing game 1 in my initial pick. I had the Cavs winning game 6 in Indy to wrap it up after losing this game 2 at home. What I would say is this is why you don't overlook a team. People are thinking about Boston. It's a lock to be the ECF. It's not. It's why you needed the Bucks to win. The Bucks blowing game 5 to Indy gave them the extra rest they needed. You would have wished that they would have not have choked it away and they could have done more, or that the Cavs are playing the Bucks, who can't play defense like the Pacers can and don't hit clutch shots like the Pacers can, with Dame not even available anymore. Give credit to Indiana, but you can't. That's why you're not supposed to look past anybody. And a lot of Cavs fans did just that. Game 3, Friday night, 7:30. We'll be live afterwards. There's a lot we're going to be talking about. Woo! Well, to everyone that tuned in, thank you. Really didn't have any words hopping on. Just got to find ways to discuss these losses, get it all out. And the Cavs are going to go back to the tape. They're going to see what they find, and let's see what comes next. Thanks all. Zach Weiss, Cross the Cavs on, as you see up here. Network 216. We will see you on Friday.